Your home may be the biggest and most important investment that you'll make in your lifetime. Keeping your home safe and in good repair is important. Not everyone has the ability or the time to do all the tasks necessary to maintain and repair their homes or to take on a major home improvement project. Particularly as we get older, we're more likely to hire someone to make repairs or perform home improvements for us. There are plenty of skilled and competent home improvement and repair contractors in our community. The key is to find the right one for you who will perform quality work in a timely manner at a reasonable price. Unfortunately, there are also a few bad apples who engage in home improvement fraud, and that can lead to serious consequences. Home improvement fraud isn't just about poor quality of work or the loss of some money. In some cases, it can have an adverse effect on a consumer's credit rating and even result in the loss of their home through foreclosure. By making this video, we hope to give you the tools you need to know to help you find the contractor to get the job done right and help prevent you from becoming a victim of home improvement fraud. The first line of defense is to do your research, ask the right questions, and protect yourself as a consumer. Let's assume you're ready to make an investment in a necessary repair or a home improvement to increase the value of your property or improve your quality of life. Who should you hire to help you? It's only a small percentage of contractors who cause problems. The trick is to recognize who you should do business with and take steps to protect yourself as a consumer. The contractor business is constantly changing. In Indiana, it does not require that general home improvement contractors be licensed. The only watchdog to protect your interests is you. So here are some tips to help you be a smart consumer when choosing a contractor. First, do your research. Have a specific idea about what kind of work you want or need to have done before you talk to a contractor. You should also have a realistic budget for that work. Second, get referrals. Talk to trusted friends or family members who've had similar work done to see if they can give referrals and recommendations. Find out if they were happy with the contractor they hired. And finally, take your time. Your home is your most important asset. Don't let a contractor rush your decision. Look for a long-established company with a permanent business location and a good reputation in the community.
When you sit down to discuss a project with potential contractors you're considering hiring, the most important thing to do is ask questions and get answers. Here are some of the questions you should consider asking. How long have they been in business? Look for a well-established contractor. Don't assume an advertisement alone makes the contractor reliable. Check them out. Get references. Ask the contractor, how many projects like mine have you completed in the last year? Ask them to list and describe similar projects. This will help you determine how familiar the contractor is with your type of project. Get names, addresses, and phone numbers of past clients to call for references. Ask the contractor what kinds of insurance they carry. Contractors should have personal liability, workman's compensation, and property damage coverage. Reputable contractors should be able to show you copies of insurance certificates to verify their coverage is current. Avoid doing business with contractors who don't carry the appropriate insurance. Otherwise, you as the property owner could be held liable for any injuries or damages that occur during the project. Ask the contractor if they intend to use subcontractors for the project. If so, ask for the names of the subcontractors. Ask if the subcontractors also have current insurance coverage. Although most contractors don't need to have a license, plumbers and electricians do. If your job requires plumbing or electrical work, ask the contractor if they'll use licensed and registered plumbers or electricians. It's a good idea to get at least 2 written estimates from different contractors and carefully compare costs and materials. It's important that the contractor uses specific information to prepare their bid so that you're comparing apples to apples when you compare bids. Remember, the lowest bid is not necessarily the best deal. Be skeptical of a bid that's too low. Cheaper is not necessarily better. A contractor with a low price may be inexperienced and unable to finish the work for the amount of bid in a timely manner. Take a close look at the written bids. Do the bids reflect the improvements you discussed? How long will the project take? Who are the suppliers? What quality materials will be used? A detailed written proposal allows you to shop around and compare intelligently.
Once you've met with a contractor, you still have some research to do. The contractor should have given you some names of former clients as references. You need to check those references. You can do that by calling on the phone, driving by and looking, or even stopping in and asking to speak to the reference. You may even ask if you can see a job in progress. Reputable contractors should be able to provide you with references. If a contractor cannot give you any names of satisfied customers from previous jobs, don't hire the contractor to work on your home. The contractor should be able to give you the names, addresses, and phone numbers of at least 3 clients who have had projects similar to yours. Call them. Ask each one about their experience with the contractor. Ask the reference if they were satisfied with the project. Was it completed on time? Did the contractor keep them informed about the status of the project? Did the contractor provide all necessary documentation such as inspections and permits? Were there any problems along the way? How were those problems resolved? Were there unexpected costs? If so, what were they? Was a change order prepared? We'll talk more about change orders later. Did the workers show up on time? Did they clean up after finishing the job? Ask if they would recommend the contractor. Ask if they would use the contractor again themselves. Ask how long ago the project was completed. You may want to ask if you can come and see the completed work. You can also check with consumer protection organizations. They may be able to tell you if there are unresolved consumer complaints on file regarding a particular business or contractor. But be careful. Just because there hasn't been a record of complaints doesn't necessarily mean there won't be problems. It may be that problems haven't been reported, or that the contractor is doing business under several different names. You can contact the State Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division. Their website is www.indianaconsumer.com, and their phone number is 800-382-5516. To check into a business or to make a complaint against a business with the Better Business Bureau of Central Indiana, visit www.indibbb.org. Call 317-488-2222 or toll free at 866-463-9222.
Thankfully, there are many contractors in our community who are skilled in their trade and offer quality services. Unfortunately, there are also some people who are not really committed to operating legitimate businesses and are willing to take advantage of vulnerable consumers. How do you recognize if there might be a problem when you are thinking about hiring someone to work on your home? Here are some tips to think about that should raise concerns and cause you to be careful as a consumer. Watch out for these red flags. Be wary of someone going door to door and doing cold call solicitation to drum up business for a home improvement or repair. Be skeptical if they point out flaws in the structure of your home, ask to come into your home, and try to create a sense of urgency. Watch out if they talk fast or in a confusing manner and tell you that they have a one-day only special deal or pressure you to make an immediate decision. If they ask you to pay for the entire job up front, that's a big red flag. Watch out if they say they just finished a job on another house and have materials left over so that they can give you a better deal if you agree to pay them in advance. Be careful if they tell you that they only accept cash payments, or if they ask you to get the required building permits for them, or tell you they don't need or won't bother to get building permits for a major structural remodeling. Be wary if they cannot list a business number that appears in the local telephone directory, or if they can only be reached by leaving messages with an answering machine. Watch out if they drive an unmarked van or have out-of-state plates on their vehicle. And finally, be skeptical if they want to set up financing for you or suggest that you borrow money from a lender that they know personally and recommend.
There are some important legal issues you should know about when entering into a home improvement contract. Indiana now has a home improvement contract law that requires residential home improvement contracts for more than $150 to be in writing and to have certain terms. Under this law, the contractor is called the home improvement supplier and the residential homeowner is called the consumer. The supplier must give the consumer a signed, completed contract for review before the consumer signs. The contract must have at least the following: your name and address, the supplier's name and address, the name and phone number of who to call for any problems or questions, the date you were given the contract, and any time limit for you to accept it, a detailed description of the proposed work, or a statement that specifications will be given before work begins and are subject to your separate written and dated approval. The approximate dates when the work will start and finish, and any important thing that would affect the completion date. The contract price, a place for both you and the supplier to sign with the names clearly printed below. If the work is related to a loss covered by insurance, there must also be a statement that the property will be repaired to the same or a comparable condition. Changes to the contract should also be in writing. Under the home improvement law, changes to the contract are not enforceable unless they are in writing and signed by the consumer. It is not unusual on remodeling jobs to have what are called change orders, allowing the contractor to make a change or addition to the work. Change orders can affect the project's cost and time schedule, so put them in writing to avoid misunderstandings. The contractor should give you a signed and completely filled-in contract to review before you sign. Under Indiana's home improvement law, the supplier must agree in writing to all of the terms of the contract before you sign and before you are required to make any down payment. You should get a copy of the contract signed and dated by both parties. Make sure the copy of the contract that you get has all the terms filled in and is signed by the contractor. Now, if a contractor does not follow the home improvement contract law and does not do the repairs correctly, you can sue the contractor for damages and attorney's fees. The Attorney General can also make the contractor pay a fine. Now, that's a summary of the minimum standards for a home improvement contract required by Indiana law. But there are other provisions that you may also want to include in a home improvement contract to avoid problems or misunderstandings in the future. Make sure any important statements by the contractor that you rely on are written into the contract. Oral statements are not likely to be enforceable. Get anything in writing that you want to be able to enforce. It is a good idea to fully describe the work to be done and have a breakdown of the cost of both labor and materials. You can also specify the quality of materials to be used, such as the color, model, size, or brand name of the products. Now, the contract should include any warranties covering materials and workmanship. You should have the names and addresses of the parties who will honor the warranties, whether it is the contractor, distributor, or the manufacturer. The length of any warranty period and any limitations should also be in writing. Is cleanup included in the contract price? You may want the contractor to be responsible for all cleanup of the site, including spills, stains, and trash hauling.
There are several different ways to pay for a home improvement project. You can get your own loan or pay by check or credit card. You should avoid paying cash unless you get a clear receipt because you need a record of payment. Never pay for the entire project before the work begins. Although the contract may require a down payment, you should not pay more than 1/3 of the total cost up front. The contract should link remaining payments to the completion of certain amounts of work done. This way, if the work is not proceeding according to schedule, then payments are also delayed. Some contracts include a penalty for the contractor if the completion date is not met. You should reserve a significant portion of the final payment for when the job is done properly and final inspection by you and the contractor has been completed. If the contractor tells you he needs to have more money for the materials in order to finish the job, stop the project immediately and resolve the problem. The contract and any change orders should cover any price changes. Before you sign off and make final payment, make sure the job is complete and that you have inspected and approved the work. Check that all work meets the standards described in the contract. Make sure you've received any written warranties for materials or workmanship. Make sure the job site has been cleaned up and cleared of excess materials, tools, and equipment. Don't make the final payment or sign any documents indicating satisfaction with the final job until you are satisfied with the work or have a third-party inspection. You may also be required to have the work checked by a county inspector before it can be considered final. Check with the building department to see if this requirement applies. If so, then once the work has passed inspection and you are happy with the work, make the final payment. Don't unreasonably delay payments that are legitimately due to a contractor. They're trying to run a business and pay their subcontractors, and if you expect people to treat you fairly and reasonably, you also have to do the same. Always get a signed receipt for any payments you make for home repairs or improvements and keep all of your receipts. Payment is one of the few points of leverage and control that consumers have. Although you shouldn't unreasonably withhold payment, you should resolve any disputes and ensure that the work is done properly before giving up that leverage and control.
If you have to borrow money to pay for your home improvement, you may wind up with a mortgage on your house. If you don't pay, you could lose your home. Be careful about getting a loan through the contractor or someone connected to the contractor. You may be able to get a better loan on your own, so shop around and check with your own bank. If a contractor or someone else does set up a loan to pay for the work, you have important rights under the law. If you get a loan against your house to finance a home improvement, the law requires a clear, easy-to-read disclosure of the cost of the loan so you know what you'll be paying, or you can shop around for better terms. It also requires a clear, easy-to-read notice of how to cancel if you change your mind after you've signed. These rights are important, since you could lose your home if you don't pay. You should get 2 special forms that reflect important rights: the right to disclosure of the terms and the right to cancel. The first form is called the Truth in Lending Disclosure Form. It discloses the terms of the loan and should tell you, how much will this really cost? It's hard to know if you're getting a good deal or to compare loans if you don't know how much the loan costs. So the law requires that you be given a clear disclosure of the entire cost of the loan. This truth in lending form should clearly show several things in one place: the true interest rate, the amount you're borrowing, all the finance charges, the total of all your payments, how much the payments will be, and when they are due. The second form is called the Notice of Right to Cancel. Sometimes we agree to things that later don't seem like a good idea. You might want to think about your decision or try to find a better deal elsewhere. So the law requires a lender to give you a notice of right to cancel. This form gives you 3 business days to change your mind and cancel the contract. The paper tells you where to send the notice and how many days you have to send it. Each person who signs the loan agreement gets 2 copies of this notice, so they can send 1 copy and keep the other. For example, if you're married and own your property together, one of you cannot borrow against the house without the other's signature. So if a husband and wife both sign for the loan, they would get 4 copies of the notice of right to cancel. That way, if one of them wants to cancel, they can individually do so. Remember, in order to cancel, you must do it in writing. A phone call is not enough. The right to cancel must generally be done within 3 business days. However, these forms are so important that the law says if you don't get them, or if they are wrong, you could have this powerful right to cancel the loan for up to 3 years. Because it could save your home, it's important to cancel on time. Even if you don't make it within 3 business days, you should still get legal advice in case you have the right to cancel within 3 years. Here are some financing tips to keep in mind. Do not agree to a home equity loan if you don't have enough money to make all the monthly payments. Do not sign any loan papers that you haven't read or don't understand, or any document that has blank spaces to be filled in after you sign. And do not let anyone pressure you into signing, especially a document that gives the contractor a lien on your property or that deeds your property to someone else. Do consult an attorney, a financial advisor, a family member, or someone you trust who is knowledgeable before signing any documents to arrange financing. Do shop around and compare loan terms to get the best financing available. One other thing, whether you get a loan or pay for a home improvement yourself, you still might have the right to cancel if it was a home solicitation sale. Indiana law gives you a right to cancel the contract if you were solicited by the seller at your home or you meet somewhere other than a regular place of business. The solicitation could be in person, by phone, mail, or ads. Be careful though. You may not be protected in some cases. If you want to cancel a home solicitation sale, seek legal advice. If you're solicited in this way, don't agree to or sign anything without getting all the documents and reviewing them first.
If you have work done on your home that improves or benefits your property and you don't pay for the work, the contractor, subcontractors, or suppliers who provided labor and materials may file a lien on your property. Even if you pay your general contractor, the subcontractors or material suppliers can file a lien on your property if your contractor does not pay them. This means that if the proper legal steps are taken, the person claiming the lien may be able to recover the value of the work and materials they provided and that they haven't been paid for. If a lien is placed on your property, you won't be able to sell it unless the lien is paid off. The lien holder can even file a lawsuit asking a court to force the sale of your home to pay off the lien. A contractor, subcontractor, or material supplier is required to give you a written notice if they intend to file a lien or lawsuit. The formal lien notice must be filed in the county recorder's office within 60 days of the date the last work was performed or materials supplied to the property. The recorder's office must then send you a copy of the lien notice. If you get notice of intent to file a lien, you should talk to an attorney to fully understand your rights. Do not ignore a lien or lawsuit filed by a contractor, subcontractor, or material supplier. You could lose your home. If you get a lien notice from anyone, stop the project immediately and talk to your general contractor right away. Do not start the project again until the issue is resolved. The likely reason you got a lien notice is that a subcontractor or supplier claims not to have been paid for the work or materials they provided. You should insist that your general contractor resolve the situation and provide proof that payment has been made and the lien has been released before any further work is performed. Of course, you should pay any money that you legitimately owe. If you have any questions about your obligations, or whether the lien was validly filed or has been released, again, you should contact an attorney for legal advice. If you disagree with the amount the contractor says you owe, or the way the work was done, and can't resolve the problem, getting immediate legal advice is extremely important. There may be time deadlines that could significantly affect your rights. One way to avoid these problems is to have a no lien provision in your contract. A no lien clause prevents the general contractor from putting a lien on your home, and it indirectly waives the rights of subcontractors and suppliers to do so as well. If a no lien contract satisfies certain legal requirements and is filed in the recorder's office within 5 days of signing the no lien contract, liens filed by the contractor, subcontractors, or suppliers against the property may not be enforceable. A no lien provision can protect you from having to deal with problems created by liens filed against your property. But remember, you must make sure the necessary documents are properly filed. Contact an attorney if you need help.
Some home improvement and repair projects require permits. The Monroe County Building Department is responsible for issuing building permits and providing follow-up inspections for construction and remodeling projects in the city of Bloomington and throughout Monroe County. Permits enable the county to enforce the life safety provisions of the building codes in Indiana. These codes are a minimum standard for protecting life, health, property, and public welfare by ensuring buildings meet a quality standard set for all buildings in the state of Indiana. Regulated activities include, but are not limited to, construction of new buildings, remodeling of existing buildings, creating additions, alterations of structural, electrical, plumbing, or mechanical elements of a building, placement of manufactured housing, mobile homes, constructing some types of exterior decks, installing swimming pools, constructing storage buildings, upgrading electrical service, or connecting to a sanitary sewer. Permits allowed for qualified inspections to ensure safety and appropriate construction. A contractor should not start work until the permit is issued. You can contact the local building inspection department to check on permit and inspection requirements and to check that a required permit has in fact been issued. Be wary if the contractor asks you to get a permit for them. Ask them why. It could mean that they or the subcontractors they intend to use are not licensed or registered for certain types of work. If the contractor suggests that they will work without getting a required building permit, don't let that happen. That could get you in trouble. If you have questions about a project and whether or not a permit is required, please contact the Monroe County Building Department. You can contact the Monroe County Building Department at 349-2580 or by linking to the website from the Monroe County site at www.co.monroe.in.us.
Even though you take precautions, problems can still come up. If you have a problem with your home improvement project, the first step is typically to try to resolve it informally by talking with the contractor. Many disputes can be resolved at this level. It is best to follow up on conversations with a letter to put in writing your complaints and understanding of how problems will be resolved. If you send a letter by certified mail and request a return receipt, that's your proof that the contractor got your letter and is on notice of your concerns. Make sure to keep a copy. Keep all paperwork for your project in one place, such as in a file. This includes copies of the contract, any change orders, all letters with your contractor, inspection reports, receipts, and so on. It is a good idea to keep a journal of all important calls or conversations you have with your contractor about the job. Be sure to put down the date, who was present, and a summary of what was said or done. You might also want to take photographs as the job progresses. These records are especially important if you have problems with your project, during or after construction. Indiana Legal Services offers free legal help to low-income people and people age 60 and older. You can contact Indiana Legal Services at 339-7668 or toll-free at 800-822-4774. The Monroe County Bar Association offers referrals to local attorneys who practice in the areas of construction law, contracts, and consumer law. Their website is www.monroecountybar.org. If you have a claim for less than $6,000, you may want to file a case in small claims court to have your dispute settled by a judge. You do not have to have a lawyer to appear in small claims court, but it can be helpful. The Monroe County Clerk of Courts has a user-friendly handbook on how people can file a small claims case. The clerk's office is located in the Justice Building and can be reached at 349-2600. Their website can be found by linking to the Monroe County site at www.co.monroe.in.us.
Sometimes you may need a little help to resolve a dispute regarding a home improvement contract. The Community Justice and Mediation Center offers trained mediators who can assist in informal mediation of disputes. Mediation is a voluntary process in which mediators help people resolve disputes in creative ways that meet their needs. Experience shows people usually comply with agreements that they have created themselves and that they feel are fair. In mediation, parties can have the support of a family member or friend. You can contact the Community Justice and Mediation Center by calling 336-8677 or by visiting the website at www.bloomington.in.us/mediate. The Office of the Monroe County Prosecuting Attorney may refer appropriate cases to mediation in an attempt to resolve home improvement disputes informally. You also may wish to include a provision in your home improvement contract that commits the parties to attempt to resolve any dispute by mediation prior to filing a lawsuit. Remember, mediation can save time, money, and anxiety by avoiding lengthy, expensive, and contentious legal proceedings.
Under certain circumstances, home improvement fraud can be a criminal offense. Indiana's criminal law on home improvement fraud covers any agreement between a contractor and consumer for repair or modification of residential property involving an amount over $150. The agreement can be either oral or written. The law does not cover new home construction. Criminal home improvement fraud occurs when one or more of the following exist. The contractor misrepresents any term of the contract or condition of the property. The contractor creates a false impression and knows that it is false. The contractor promises to perform work that he knows will not be performed. The contractor uses deception to induce the consumer to enter into a home improvement contract. The contractor enters into an unconscionable home improvement contract with a consumer that's more than $4,000. A contract is unconscionable if there's an unreasonable difference between the contract price and the fair market value of the work. The contractor misrepresents his name, business affiliation, address, or phone number. The contractor fails to give you a copy of any warranty or guarantee if you ask for it. The information must include the duration and coverage of the warranty and how to make a claim. The contractor uses a product in a way that voids a warranty without first telling the consumer. The contractor falsely claims that he was referred by another contractor who previously did work for the consumer. The contractor claims he is licensed, certified, or insured when he is not. The contractor falsely claims that he has obtained necessary permits or licenses before beginning work. A violation of the law is a Class A misdemeanor, but it can be enhanced to a felony if the consumer is at least 60 years old or the contract price is more than $10,000. If you believe you have been the victim of criminal home improvement fraud, contact your local law enforcement agency and file a report. The crime of home improvement fraud should be investigated by police. By reporting criminal home improvement fraud, you can also help stop it from happening to others in the future.
Once again, it is important to remember that there are plenty of skilled and competent home improvement and repair contractors in our community. The key is to find the right one for you who will perform quality work in a timely manner at a reasonable price. By making this video, we hope to give you the tools that you need to help you get the job done right and prevent you from becoming a victim of home improvement fraud. The first line of defense is to do your research, ask the right questions, and protect yourself as a consumer. If problems do occur, you should know where to turn. There are resources in the community available to help resolve disputes and solve problems. This video provides information about those community resources and about how you can access them. The Office of the Prosecuting Attorney and the Elder Crimes Task Force want to work with you to make this a safer community. Thank you for your interest in learning what you need to know about home improvement fraud.